We are counting down 5 pathogens that have killed more human beings than every war, famine, and natural disaster in recorded history combined. From viruses that depopulated continents to a bacterium that may have claimed 1 billion lives and is still killing today, each entry reshaped civilization on a scale no army ever could. The countdown begins with a pandemic that killed tens of millions in mere months. In the 5th place, the 1918 Spanish influenza pandemic stands as the fastest-killing pandemic in recorded history. Within just months, the H1N1 influenza A virus swept across the globe, infecting a third of humanity and leaving an estimated 50 to 100 million dead. Unlike most influenza strains, this virus targeted the deep lung, triggering a catastrophic immune overreaction known as a cytokine storm. Young, healthy adults, usually spared by seasonal flu, died in staggering numbers, producing a W-shaped mortality curve that defied medical expectations. In Philadelphia, the decision to hold a Liberty Loan Parade in September 1918 drew 200,000 people into crowded streets. Within days, hospitals overflowed, and the city registered more than 14,000 deaths in just 6 weeks. The pandemic's abrupt lethality forced a new era of public health science and laid the groundwork for modern pandemic response. Decades later, scientists led by Jeffrey Taubenberger reconstructed the virus genome from preserved lung tissue, unlocking the secrets of its virulence and confirming its avian origins. The 1918 flu set the benchmark for how quickly a microscopic agent can reshape the fate of nations, and its lessons continue to guide global preparedness against future pandemics. In the 4th place, plague stands as the archetype of zoonotic catastrophe, a bacterium, Yersinia pestis, that travels from wild rodents to humans through the bite of an infected flea. This microscopic agent unleashed 3 historic pandemics, none more infamous than the Black Death of the 14th century. Between 1347 and 1351, plague erased between 75 million and 200 million lives, wiping out up to 60% of Europe's population. The disease manifests in several forms, but it is the pneumonic variant that terrifies epidemiologists. Once the bacteria reach the lungs, they become airborne, transmitting person to person with deadly speed. Untreated, pneumonic plague kills nearly every victim. The bacterium's YOP proteins sabotage the immune system, allowing it to overwhelm the body in days. Archaeological excavations at London's East Smithfield Cemetery have recovered plague DNA from mass graves, confirming the scale of the medieval disaster. The demographic shock shattered feudal economies, triggered labor shortages, and set off social upheaval that would ripple for centuries. The scientific turning point came in 1894, when Alexander Yersin isolated the causative agent in Hong Kong, a breakthrough that revealed the role of the flea and the rodent reservoir. Today, plague persists in natural foci from Madagascar to the American Southwest, a reminder that vector control remains the frontline defense against old threats. The story of plague is not just about mortality, but about how a single bacterium carried by a flea could redraw the map of human civilization. In the 3rd place, smallpox stands as both a symbol of human vulnerability and the greatest triumph of coordinated science. Caused by the variola virus, this orthopox virus spread through direct contact, respiratory droplets, and contaminated objects, thriving in crowded cities and isolated villages alike. After an incubation of 7 to 17 days, fever and malaise gave way to a centrifugal rash. First macules, then papules, then deep vesicles and pustules, leaving survivors with lifelong scars, or in 1 out of 3 cases, death. The untreated case fatality rate for variola major hovered near 30%, and in some indigenous populations of the Americas, mortality soared even higher. Spanish colonial records and missionary diaries from the 16th century describe entire communities vanishing within weeks, their demographic collapse paving the way for conquest and reshaping continents. Across the 20th century alone, smallpox claimed an estimated 300 to 500 million lives. Its relentless march was halted not by luck or natural decline, but by the deliberate invention and deployment of the world's first vaccine. In 1796, Edward Jenner's use of cowpox material introduced the concept of vaccination, a method refined over generations until the World Health Organization, led by Donald Henderson, launched the Global Eradication Campaign in 1967. Field teams tracked outbreaks to their source, ring-vaccinated contacts, and overcame logistical crises in the Horn of Africa. The last natural case appeared in Somalia in 1977. In 1980, the world certified smallpox as eradicated, the only human disease ever removed from nature. Today, the virus survives only in 2 high-security laboratories in Atlanta and Novosibirsk under strict international oversight. Smallpox is a reminder that the deadliest pathogens can be defeated, not just endured, and that the tools forged in its wake continue to shape the fight against disease today. In the second place, malaria stands as the deadliest vector-borne disease in human history, a relentless protozoan parasite transmitted by the bite of female Anopheles mosquitoes. Plasmodium falciparum, the most lethal species, completes a complex journey through mosquito and human hosts. After a silent incubation in the liver, the parasite bursts into the bloodstream, invading red blood cells and triggering cycles of fever, chills, and profound anemia. The true terror of falciparum malaria lies in its ability to turn the body's own microvasculature against itself. By expressing the sticky FEMP1 protein, infected red cells adhere to blood vessel walls, clogging capillaries and starving the brain of oxygen. This is cerebral malaria, a swift descent into coma, seizures, and, without treatment, death. In children under 5, the untreated case fatality rate can reach 30%. Malaria's historical toll is almost beyond reckoning. Some scientists estimate that it may have claimed up to half of all human lives ever lived, a figure impossible to prove, but a measure of the parasite's enduring shadow. Today, the disease remains a daily threat, with 247 million cases and more than 610,000 deaths recorded in 2024. Nigeria alone bears a quarter of this burden, and children account for 3/4 of all fatalities. Unlike the swift devastation of plague or influenza, malaria is a chronic adversary. Its grip shaped settlement patterns, stalled economic growth, and molded the genetic makeup of entire populations. The 20th century brought powerful tools: quinine, DDT, and insecticide-treated nets. Yet the parasite's adaptability has blunted each advance. Drug resistance and shifting mosquito habitats continue to challenge control efforts. The scientific battle against malaria has seen milestone achievements. Charles Laveren's discovery of the parasite in 1880 and Ronald Ross's proof of mosquito transmission in 1897 laid the foundation. The 21st century has delivered new hope. In 2021, the RTS vaccine became the first to receive a World Health Organization recommendation, followed by the R21 Matrix M vaccine in 2023, which showed 77% efficacy in young children. These breakthroughs mark the dawn of a new era, but the war is far from over. Malaria endures as both a biological and societal force, a disease that has shaped and continues to shape the fate of nations. Tuberculosis, caused by Mycobacterium tuberculosis, has haunted humanity for centuries as an airborne infection with a staggering cumulative death toll. The bacteria travel in microscopic droplets released when someone with active pulmonary tuberculosis coughs or sneezes. Once inhaled, they settle in the lungs, where they are engulfed by macrophages, yet they are rarely destroyed. Instead, tuberculosis manipulates the immune system, encasing itself in granulomas. These clusters of immune cells can trap the bacteria in a latent state, sometimes for decades, allowing the infection to persist quietly and then reactivate, often when the host's defenses are down. The historical impact is immense. Scientific estimates suggest tuberculosis has killed nearly 1 billion people over the past 2,000 years, a number unmatched by any other infectious disease. In the 19th and early 20th centuries, tuberculosis filled sanatoriums and dominated mortality statistics, especially in crowded cities. Mortality rates soared above 150 per 100,000 in industrial Europe and North America, cutting down young adults and reshaping communities. Even now, tuberculosis remains relentless. In 2024, about 10.8 million people will develop active disease, and 1.25 million will die, more than from any other single pathogen. The untreated case fatality rate for smear-positive pulmonary tuberculosis stands at 40 to 60%, and it rises further with malnutrition or human immunodeficiency virus infection. The bacterium's waxy cell wall makes it resistant to many antibiotics, fueling the rise of multi-drug resistant and extensively drug-resistant strains. In 2024, nearly 450,000 people will face tuberculosis that standard drugs cannot cure. Threatening hard-won progress, India now shoulders the world's largest burden, with millions of new cases each year and a growing crisis of resistance. Unlike fast-moving pandemics, tuberculosis endures as a chronic silent adversary. Its persistence shapes public health, labor, and demography. As resistance spreads and health systems strain, tuberculosis remains the world's most lethal infectious killer, demanding vigilance and renewed scientific resolve. Across all five, one truth stands out. Microscopic pathogens have shaped civilization more profoundly than any empire or war. Their invisible power rewrote borders, toppled dynasties, and still claims lives today. Disease is not a footnote to history, it is one of its greatest authors.